You know, all too often the word scam gets thrown out there when it really doesn't necessarily fit the situation, and I'll be honest, I'm guilty of doing that once in a while myself. But what just transpired with limited run games is literally the definition of a scam. And this is so bad that it could be the unraveling of their entire company. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And Limited Run Games has been exposed for shipping out 3DO games on CDR. CDR as in like CD rewritable. You know those stack of CDs that you buy at Walmart that come in like a spindle with like hundreds of them on there? Yeah, apparently Limited Run Games was using these as their method to produce 3DO games like Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Like, as if that bad game wasn't bad enough, you had to put it on a CDR for it. And I know people hear that and be like, okay, whatever. They went cheap and made CDR versions of the games for the 3DO. Like, it's not really that big of a deal. Until you realize that the 3DO doesn't play CDR games. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article breaking down all the information on this scam from Limited Run Games. And I should have known a long time ago that this company had some serious skeletons in their closet when they blocked me on social media, when all I did was question why they fired Kara, their social media manager, who apparently, like a decade ago, said one innocuous thing that wasn't even that bad. And this crazy purple tinkler guy or whatever went crazy and tried to get her fired and ultimately did for a tweet like a decade ago. And as I've seen from plenty of social media managers in the game industry, there's been a hell of a lot worse out there that just seems to go under the radar or be let fly by these companies. But no, for some reason, Limited Run Games felt it was necessary to let Kara go for that. And I questioned them. And they blocked me. And I was like, that's really strange for a corporation to block an individual for asking a question. But it gets a lot worse than just being blocked. Let's dive into some of the information we have. And it comes to us from Todd Gill. And he said, LOL, Limited Run Games is shipping out 3DO games on CDR rather than pressed discs. And the best part, they won't even work on real hardware. So people are being sold a bill of goods that don't even function as promised, as advertised, as what you would assume when you buy a game from a company. The bare minimum is for the game to work. You put it in and it gets recognized by the system. Apparently, these CDR games don't even do that on a 3DO. How did we get to this point where a company is so full of themselves that they can make so many games, lie to so many customers, to the point of having the audacity to go cheap on the CD that they use for the console that they're selling? And it was really summed up perfectly by Voltar on Twitter. I know I talk about a lot of things on here, and people might consider this drama, but please just hear me out and read until the end. This company is problematic in more ways than one, and it's becoming exhausting. And Voltar couldn't agree with you more. Limited Run Games charges an absolute premium for their limited releases, yet they're burning CDRs for some of their disc-based titles. Yes, you read that correctly. Limited Run Games is burning CDs and selling them as limited games release. Something that you could literally do on your own computer. If you have a CD drive and you buy some CDRs, you could literally, I know I'm saying literally a lot, but like, you could literally do this without paying a company. That's what Limited Run Games is doing. Like, out of what I'm seeing here, they bought a spindle of CDRs, put them in their own PC, and burned games to sell them. I hope I'm not the only one that sees just how blatantly, abhorrently insane this really is. LRG is charging $60 plus for these 3DO games, and they're literally burning them to cheap CDR media. How can you, in good conscience, take people's money while not even properly having these discs pressed? What's limited about CDR backup? This is the very definition of low effort grifting. It's almost like Limited Run Games has gotten to the point, yes, they are a branch under the Embracer Group, which is struggling plenty enough as it is right now. But they've gotten to the point where they got so cocky, their business was so successful, and they were making so much money, they were like, we can do whatever the hell we want, and nobody's going to question us, especially the bigger YouTubers out there, because they're in the back pockets of this company. They've been given so many free things. They've been told so many promises by them that nobody wants to call them out. Limited Run Games is literally ripping, I like the usage of the word ripping there, as in ripping CDs, ripping people off with their grifts. Please share and retweet this so people can be better informed, because whether you like it or not, if nobody says anything about this, then everyone suffers. I recognize that many larger YouTube channels have vested interests in shoring these people up, and I've noticed that myself as well. I'm not going to call people out, but I think people in the industry, it's pretty blatantly obvious who's on whose side with this, and if you're remaining silent on what Limited Run Games did right here, it's basically exposing you as someone who would cover for this horrible tactic. But I'm not going to turn a blind eye to this, as the community, you people, deserve to be treated better and more fairly. Absolutely outrageous. A $60 plus charge for a CDR backup. And some people might be watching me right now and listening to me talking about what Voltar said and say, is it really that big of a deal? I mean, whatever. They sold a few games and they're CDR backups. They don't work on a 3DO. It would be one thing if they did work and this got found out, be like, man, they're being really cheap about this and that's kind of scummy, but I mean, technically, they're selling you a game and it works on the system, so, I mean, it is what it is. But no, they're selling you the idea of a game, a backup copy of a game that you can't even use on original hardware. Without, I guess there might be workarounds with a 3DO, or if you have alternative means of playing these discs, potentially there's a way to play them. But on the original hardware, where 99.9% of the people would be purchasing this disc to play it on, are finding out it doesn't even work. And therein lies the problem with Limited Run Games and why they were able to get away with this for so long. So many people don't even open up the box because the value is in the sealed. And with Limited Run Games, they've created this environment where all these people just blindly throw money at the company to get these sealed cartridges, sealed boxes, sealed discs from them and keep them on their shelf forever, or send them in to be priced by a game price marketing company that just says, oh yeah, I'll grade that value at a 9.2 and it's sealed. There's your money for it. Like, that's what this has turned into. A business inside of a business. Not even playing the game. And let's talk more about how bad a CDR backup really is. Because it has way less lifetime than a pressed disc. How much? According to Gorgar73 on Twitter, much, much more prone to failure over time. Usually 1/10 the shelf life of pressed discs. Some last 10 to 20 years, some 1 or 2 months. Pressed discs properly stored have an archival life of over 100 years, potentially in the right environment. So a CDR backup not only doesn't work on the console, but even if it did, would only last upwards of maybe a few years before it starts to degrade. That's a major issue, an incredible oversight, and it's not something that's done by accident. This is an active decision by somebody at Limited Run Games deciding, how are we going to make these discs? How are they going to be created? Are we going to pay the money to have them officially pressed and make them really nice and go along with the high prices we charge for our games? Or are we going to go the cheap way out, buy a spindle of CDRs, and literally burn them in our office? That's what they are doing. Like, that's the equivalent of what this is. I cannot get across to you just how insane this really is and how detrimental to their entire business this thing could really be. This could take down Limited Run Games. It's that bad. They have lost all consumer trust. Anyone that could believe in them knows now that they make the wrong choice to save money instead of giving the people what they're properly paying the big money for. And this screenshot Todd Gill shared on Twitter is proof that they are CDRs. He had a program to test the disc and run it because it wasn't working on his 3DO. And I wonder how many people even realize this, because like I said earlier, the vast majority of people that purchase games from limited run games, and I am guilty of this as well, by the way, I'm not going to act like I'm innocent, buy them to keep them sealed for the collection value of them. But I'd like to think the whole idea and purpose behind that is because inside of that is a game that can be played. And learning that there's not completely destroys the entire value, the fabrication that it's built upon. This is completely meaningless, useless, disc rotting, unnecessary, stupid. I could go on this rant on how bad this is, but I think you guys can already grasp that it's really bad. This is a PR nightmare, and they have no one to blame but themselves. Anyway, so that's the situation with limited run games, and this opens up the door for what else did they go cheap on? What else have they done that isn't of the utmost quality and success that they want out of their products? Because if they're willing to do CDR games for Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, what else are they willing to go cheap on? I'm going to leave it there. If you want more information, check out SmashJT.com for all the links, references. Thank you again to Todd Gill, RetroFrog on Twitter, and Voltar, and so many people that were just messaging me about this information. It is crazy. It is mind-blowing. And honestly, like I started this off with, they blocked me on social media and for asking a question. It just kind of was the tip-off of, yeah, a company that's going to do that has a lot of skeletons in their closet. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, you stay smashing. Smash